our japa circle today so we can chant your holy name with full concentration and devotion. Thank you for considering our request. Hare Krishna. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, wherever, evening, wherever you may be. And welcome to the japa circle. And just to enliven our minds, I'm going to read a small section from Srila Prabhupada's instructions on chanting. But if one only chants with some slight faith the holy name of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, very quickly he is cleansed of all offenses. Thus, as soon as he chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, he feels the ecstasy of love of God. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks in this connection that if one takes shelter of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, follows their instructions to become more tolerant than the tree and humbler than the grass, and in this way chants the holy name of the Lord, very soon he achieves the platform of transcendental loving service to the Lord, and tears appear in his eyes. There are offenses to be considered in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but there are no such considerations in chanting the names of Gaura Nityananda. Therefore, if one chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but his life is still full of sinful activities, it will be very difficult for him to achieve the platform of loving service to the Lord. But if, in spite of being an offender, one chants the holy names of Gaura Nityananda, he is very quickly freed from the reactions of his offenses. Therefore, one should first approach Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, or worship Guru Gauranga, and then come to the stage of worshiping Radha Krishna. In our Krishna consciousness movement, our students are first advised to worship Guru Gauranga, and then, when they are somewhat advanced, the Radha Krishna deity is installed and they are engaged in the worship of the Lord. Gaura Nityananda ki jai. Let's start with the Panchadva Mahamantra. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakti-vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakti-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande, Gaur Nityananda ki jai. Let's take a quick census, get a consensus how that went the last period. Were you able to pay attention during that last japa session? And if so, how were you able to do so? And if not, what do you think happened? Were you able to pay attention? If so, how were you able to do that? If not, what happened? Let's take a few. Go ahead. Were you able to pay attention?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I was just thinking that, I was trying my best to pay attention. There are times that mind just goes away and then you have to bring it back. I was just thinking about one thing, that I thought that japa is the means and the end. In a sense, I'm trying to reach Krishna. I'm trying to reach Krishna Prema. In the process of that, I mean, japa helps me do that, but it also helps me, remind me of all the anarthas that I'm doing. That mind is only creating all the thoughts of, fault finding or lust or greed or anger or pride. And then I realized that once I do this, my end is to reach Krishna Prema, but the means is also that I have to get rid of all those things. So it's very, it's the only thing that you have and you have to do in your life, I feel.
Thank you for sharing your realization. Go ahead, Malini. Were you able to pay attention? If so, how did you do it?
Prabhu, it was very difficult to pay attention because I had a big laundry list of things to do, and it kept coming on in my mind saying that you didn't finish this. And sometimes I almost felt like I should just get up and do my to-do list. But then I said, no, this is the time for me to chant. And then I was praying to the holy name, please let me concentrate, let me concentrate. And sometimes I was successful, and at times, again, the mind was wandering, but every time trying to pray and bring it back to the mantra. Prabhu.
Why were you convinced that the better thing to do was to stay in and chant rather than get up and do the laundry list?
Because everything comes from the holy names. And if I don't focus and try to get the mantra in my mind, then the other things are just going to linger around anyway. But this is the main thing I need to focus rather than thinking of million other things.
I like that explanation. That's very helpful. It reminds me, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sridhanashchoy Krishna Bhakti Kole Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. This is a Shraddha, a conviction that everything gets done by bhakti. Everything gets done by chanting the holy name. That's powerful. Thank you very much for sharing. Who else? Were you able to concentrate? And if so, how did you do it?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Who is that?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Oh, yes, please go ahead, Srivatsa. And then Nitya Tarangini.
To be completely honest, I don't think I was able to concentrate. I did to an extent, but my mind always wandered off. And I tried to be encouraging to myself by saying that, like, at least in some cases, my mind was wandering towards Krishna conscious things, but in some cases it wasn't. So I tried reminding myself of what you were talking about last week on Saturday, and that chanting is not something that you just get whimsically. It's something that is given to you by devotees who went through a lot of work for it, and that chanting is a great privilege, and that I should be taking advantage of it, because otherwise, if I'm inattentive, I'll lose taste, and if I lose taste, my chanting won't go on.
Ooh, nice thought process. First of all, you're very much aware that your mind was going various places, and you were very deliberately bringing it back. And then you had that remembrance of how important japa is. It's a privilege. Yes, very nice process. Thank you very much. Nitya Tarangini.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. But actually, when I started chanting, I knew that my mind would lose focus. Then whenever I lose my attention, I remember what you read in the beginning of the japa session, like only through worshipping Guru and Gauranga, you'd be able to worship Radha and Krishna. So whenever I lose my attention, I would just pray to or remember Lord Chaitanya. And I remember that I'm sitting with great souls, and I bring back my mind back to holy names. Like that instruction is very, very useful for me to focus on the holy names whenever I lose attention.
Oh, powerful realizations about remembering Lord Chaitanya and also sitting with great souls. I would like to ask everybody, thank you for sharing that, Nitya Tarangini. I'd like to ask everybody, how much of a difference does it make to you, if any at all, sitting with a group of devotees, such as, as we have the opportunity here in the Zoom, in your level of concentration or not getting up to do your laundry list? Does it make any difference? Let's see, Edwin, Bhakti Edwin.
Hey Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hey Krishna.
So yeah, I was actually chanting my japa before this japa session had started, and so I was it was very hard to focus. So I was really happy to see that this Zoom call had started, because I was kind of like praying in my mind to Krishna. I was like, like, really just help me to focus. I'm in this quiet place at work right now, and I was still having so much trouble just trying to focus. But it was as soon as this Zoom call started, and I think it's the combination of like hearing Prabhupada and then hearing you chanting, it gives me something, more to focus on than just my own voice. It seems like my own voice seems to kind of just, I like hardly hear it. Is even if I chant louder and louder, I seem to just be able to ignore my own voice for some reason. But being able to like focus on your voice and Prabhupada chanting, I think it's a big help.
Nice. Thanks for sharing your realization. And this goes to the points that Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes in the Harinam Chintamani, is that you should be inventive. Try to find ways in which you can get into that niche where you can actually focus and concentrate. He suggests go in a closet, close the door, put a shutter over your head, whatever you have to do, to try to come in contact with the holy name by deliberately paying attention when you're chanting. Somebody else was trying to get in. There was a
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
several people. Who is that?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prema. Please
Hare
go ahead.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, to be with all of you is wonderful. I put the volume a little bit low for me to listen myself, but to see in the screen the devotees very concentrate, that makes me feel like in a very nice atmosphere. And as you say now, one time I saw a devotee that he put like a bucket in his head. And I did it once. It's right. It's nice because you can hear yourself very it's very weird, but yeah, I tried once.
I think we should popularize bucket japa. Thank you very much, Prema. Hare Krishna. Yes, when we see the other devotees there, then we feel like, oh, they're here, let me stay. The power of association, and it's important. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, take association, be around devotees who are like-minded and are more advanced than you are, because that will help. There was one more. There was everyone was trying to get in. Yes.
So another point that I want to add is exactly as what Prabhuji was just saying, like seeing the devotees helps, but it's just not seeing them. But when I see them, I remember how great they are, especially those who join this japa call early in the morning, and they have so many things to do, but the focus with which they chant and the great things they do, it all comes to my mind. And then I encourage myself that if they are so great, but because they are focusing on chanting, then the importance to holy name gets reiterated in my consciousness by seeing them, how they chant with focus in this call. Thank you, Prabhu.
Well, that gives some nuance to this point about association. Just remembering the determination and the qualities that the devotees have, that they get up early, they're doing their chanting, then it inspires us, it pulls us along, right? Yeah. Okay. Really powerful. Well, and as I was writing in one of the chapters of my book the other day, which is about mantra meditation, just when I reread one of the paragraphs, it was about concentration. And really, it's a simple process. In doing japa, the main point is to listen. That's simple, but it may not be so simple if the mind runs off here and there. So Kṛṣṇa recommends in the 6th chapter of the Gita that practice that. And in normal meditation, focusing on the tip of the nose or on some singular point, it's like building a muscle. But actually, when you chant japa, you're invoking the avatār. Krishna is making his avatar, his descent in the name. So he actually takes us by the hand. If we extend ourselves through our attention and we actually sincerely try, then he'll lift us up because he has the power to do that. He can lift us up above the chatter of the mind, above all the modes of material nature. vyabhicāreṇa bhakti-yogena sevate. guṇān samatītyaitān brahma-bhūyāya kalpate. By Krishna's power, which is fully invested in the holy name, nam akari bahuda nija sarva shaktis. He's no different. All his shaktis are there within his holy name. we can be lifted up above. So it's the most worthwhile practice to take time every day to fully listen with attention to the name, to ourselves, repeating the name over and over again, and then self-examine, how did I do? And why didn't I do as well as I thought? What's the defect? And in that practice, one makes advancement in devotional service, without a doubt. It's the most powerful of all the practices. That's why Prabhupada insisted at least you do 16 rounds every day. Okay, let's see if there's one last comment.
Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So for me, I could push my laundry list away from my mind before I completed my 16th round. The moment I finished it, I don't know, I was like, okay, I'm done. Maybe now I can allow the laundry list to come in, and I started thinking more about what I have to do next. So that was one observation I had.
Yeah, well, Prabhupada said that once. Shruti Kirti Prabhu reported that, Prabhupada finished his rounds and he said, okay, now I can do laundry list of Krishna conscious things to do. But first, he set an example by saying that, like, first you do this, then you do your list. And it's important too that we have a laundry list of Krishna conscious things to do, or whatever, just to maintain our lives. That has to be done also. We talked about last week how that's not separate from our Krishna consciousness, because we have to maintain our lives. But it's important that we have that, because sarvapari vanirmuktam tapratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchate. We have to be able to engage our senses in something that's practical. Anushilanam. So, you finish japa, you just said to Krishna thousands of times, please engage me in your service. Okay, now go do it. Jai. Thank you, Shamalangi. Very nice. So thank you everyone for joining Japa Circle. Just a reminder, if you were fasting for Ekadashi, the break fast was at 7:20. So we're going to start. Yeah. So we're going to, if you have a chance to break your fast, and then we'll start up with the class at 8:20. I'll just read one tiny little more part to leave Prabhupada's words in our minds. One should first take shelter of Gaura Nityananda in order to reach, ultimately, Radha Krishna. Srila Narottam Das Thakur sings in this connection, Gauranga bholite habe pulaka sharir, hari hari bholite nayane bhabe nir. Aro kabe nitai chandero, karuna koribe, shangshara bashana mora kabe tucha habe. Bishaya chodiya kabe shura habe mon. Kabe hama hreba Shri Vrindavan. In the beginning, one should very regularly chant Shri Gaurasundar's holy name. Gaurasundar. And then chant the holy name of Lord Nityananda. Thus, one's heart will be cleansed of impure desires for material enjoyment. Then one can approach Vrindavan Dham to worship Lord Krishna. Unless one is favored by Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, there is no need to go to Vrindavan. For unless one's mind is purified, he cannot see Vrindavan, even if he goes there. Actually, going to Vrindavan involves taking shelter of the 6 Goswamis by reading Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vidagdha Madhava, Lalita Madhava, and the other books that they have given. In this way, one can understand the transcendental loving affairs between Radha and Krishna. Kabe hama bhujhaba, she jugala piriti. The conjugal love between Radha and Krishna is not an ordinary human affair. It is fully transcendental. In order to understand Radha and Krishna, worship them, and engage in their loving service, one must be guided by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and the 6 Goswamis, Lord Chaitanya's direct disciples. Gaur Premanande Haribo, Gaura Nityananda ki jai, Shri Gaura Sundar ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Haribo, Vanchagopadrishta, Kripasandabe, Vachapatitanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. See you in 19 minutes. Hare Krishna.